our Team Sports listeners. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen at KZSB AM 1290. We welcome you all to join us
every single Tuesday
at 9 a.m. right after the news. This is a whole hour of Santa Barbara teen athletes and all the people and all those beautiful people. Oh, businesses. They're people and businesses, okay? Everybody that supports those athletes. Well, I tanked the opening, and you know something? We're going to leave it as is because I'm looking at my health coach. I was going to say, Dominique, you're here with me today. Thank God. Oh, yeah. Coach Dominique, how you doing today?
Great. So glad to see you.
Yeah, I know you got a lot to say, but I'm going to just go around the house really quick, and then we're going to come back around to you, okay?
Yes, well, I brought a treat for everyone today, too.
Oh,
and they're delicious.
Are those energy bars?
Well, yeah, they're sort of. I like to experiment, and I enjoy experimenting with gluten-free. So I experimented with a gluten-free brownie mix.
Nice, because I need energy. Can you tell? All right, I'm waking up though. All right, Dr. Chandler's in the house, looking good in blue.
Oh, thank you. This is my daily routine.
That's so sweet. You operate on Tuesdays, right? Is that what you said?
Well, this Tuesday I did.
Nice.
I like it.
Nice? Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So you're gonna root?
Am I going to root?
Yeah, you got to root here.
We got to wait to see if that husband gets a good job here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, passed the first time. Passed the ball.
Yeah.
Woo! That's it. That was
sure did.
That doesn't happen.
No,
it doesn't.
Especially not in the California bar.
Yeah, that's hard. That in New York, right?
That New York and Texas, I've been told. Those are the 3 states.
Yeah. Well, we love to have you. I feel blessed to have you.
Well, thank you.
I feel so much better now that you're here.
Wonderful.
That's awesome. All right, we got to your left, Joan Calder. Hey, Joan Calder is in the house. Famous author,
yeah. Hey, I have to brag a little bit. My daughter took the bar, and she passed the first time. So,
there you go.
Wow. That was a wonderful thing. So I know how important that is and how fabulous this is. Yeah.
It's just hard because I forget how long, but when you take it, it's not like you get immediate. I mean, it's months and months.
Like 4 or 6 months. Like
and
that.
then you don't know, should I start preparing in case you don't? Or like, what do you feel? You can't really start studying because you feel like you're cursing it. You know what I mean? Right. So then you just kind of wait. That's got to be awful.
Right. And it lasts for days, and she would call me and cry every night. Oh, Mom, I failed it. I didn't know I did it.
No.
It's a struggle. Yeah, but she did really well.
So they just found out then, right?
Oh, no, this is like 4 years ago.
Oh, okay, got you. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah,
so what kind of law is she practicing?
Well, she's actually in health and wealth management.
Nice.
Company in San Francisco.
Oh, wow. Dr. D.
I think I know the reason why they make you wait 4 to 6 months before they give you the results of your bar exam.
Why?
Because as a trial lawyer, you will be facing juries that will be sequestered for days, weeks, months, waiting for a verdict, and this is excellent practice
to
test your patience.
You off. I'm serious.
That's the final test of the bar, is the test of patience.
Oh, dear. I don't even. I remember I was helping a friend pass it once, and it was what?
Excuse me, you were trying to help somebody to pass it?
I was helping with the multi-state questions or whatever, like that's multiple choice questions. So anyway, the question was like 500 words was the question. And it was like Mary Sue John, Mary Sue John, Mary Sue John. So the answers were Mary Sue John. And all of a sudden in the answers, what about Paul? I'm like, where the frig was Paul? I didn't even catch it. So I didn't read the whole, and reading is not like my forte. So I was like, I just threw the book. I'm like, I don't even know how you do this. But it's awesome. I mean, it's great. I'm not saying that it is the most difficult because I'm looking at a doctor and I know those the MCATs, are they?
The MCATs. Well, that's to get into medical school.
Okay.
The boards.
Yeah, the boards. That's just as difficult, if not more difficult, is it? Right?
Well, there's no way I could do that bar. It's a 3-day long exam,
right. Yeah.
And it's like 8 hours. And even Nate, like just applying for jobs, he has to write essays.
Wow.
I, thank goodness, did not have to write essays to apply for jobs.
Just have people laying out on the table, heal me. Yeah. These hands heal.
Just cut on me.
Just cut on me. Hey, we've got a little time left, and I've got to always go back. Let's go back to Coach Dominique. What is our happy thought of the day?
Our happy thought for today is have fun experimenting in the kitchen.
There you go.
So this is what I want to tell people is that don't be afraid of healthy food. Healthy food food is working with real food. So when you open up your refrigerator, you want to look for things that have protein in it, fruits and vegetables, and just have fun making combinations.
Nice.
So what I did today with the gluten-free brownie, I took a gluten-free brownie mix. I didn't even add any eggs. I just said, okay, let's find a healthy oil. So I put in a little bit of coconut oil, and then I put in a little bit of almond meal because I'd made some fresh almond milk, and I had the leftover almonds. And then I mixed that all in with some dates and some raisins and some pecans, and there you go.
And they're amazing.
They're
really good.
The happy thought is that you just have fun in the kitchen and just combine healthy, real foods and make something new that you never had before.
Yeah, you got to cut out the time, because when we get in that cycle, and it's just basically, I think, just breaking cycles. Because now, I mean, I haven't done this before, but now, like, I devote like half of Sundays, go to the markets in the morning and then I'm doing meals in advance, because it's a lot better to do it that way than like feel stranded and then you run into the grocery store at the last second. You're not knowing you're not prepared. It's just it's really good to make a meal plan for the week, and I think it's healthy all the way around for everybody, and especially if you got the kids are going back to school now, and it's just not as I think it's very, very important right now, because they're on a track to get, especially their ages right now. They're developing, and the protein that their mind needs, especially on the athlete side.
Yeah, they need good real food
and good balanced nutrition. Most definitely.
Exactly.
Excellent. All right. Well, listen. Let's take a break. We got the short sign here. We got the smush. All right. We're going to be smushed out. This is Erica Salda. It's go time. We'll be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday
at 9 a.m. right after the news. And Coach Dominique, where else are we?
We are on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Who am I forgetting?
Twitter,
and the internet. TeenSportsRadio.com.
Nice. I liked it. That's funny. We didn't even practice that. That's all right. We haven't announced a guest yet today, but I know, Joan, you've got 2 guests today, and they're in the quiet room. They're going to be coming out in the next couple of sections, but who did you bring today?
I brought Jeff Peterson and Sifu Slim.
Awesome. All right, so I'm excited about those 2 people, but in the studio we have currently Terri Cooper. Put your hands together for Terri Cooper. Terry's a family therapist. I had to call her back because, I don't know, I had some great feedback on her last show, and I think what we're going to do is I'm going to call her Dr. Energy. All right, I just like what she's about, and I like her vision, and I think she's going to bring a lot to the show. So we're going to steal her. She's got nothing to do on Tuesday mornings anyway. So Dr. Energy, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Erica?
I'm doing great. What's the word of the day? Tell me. Talk to me. Talk to us. Talk to teen athletes.
The word of the day is energy.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to be teaching you a wonderful technique called lifting through the chakras. And you're going to find that it's going to help your life and your performance be better and better. What is lifting through the chakras? Chakras are energy vortexes in the human body, and each one is associated with various physical and emotional experiences. So when we intentionally move our energy from our lower chakras, that's in the belly, and breathe them up to our higher ones, what we find is that we get very relaxed, and it's also a place where our mind is the most calm, and our wisest self is the most accessible. So we're going to do that together today, and I invite all you wonderful co-hosts to join with me and enjoy this experience. So if you're ready, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes.
That's awesome.
We want you to be with us next Tuesday. And anybody else who might be in another car. But if you can, then close your eyes. Otherwise, leave your eyes open. So you ready? I'm going to teach you how to lift through the chakras. So let's begin. First of all, get comfortable. Close your eyes if you can. And begin to breathe slowly and deeply. Nice, slow, deep, long inhalations. Hold for just a moment. And then let go and let all that air out. Let's do that a couple of times together. A deep inhalation. A gentle holding, and then a release. Wonderful. Starting to feel better already. Now what I'd like you to do is to picture the energy that's in your belly. Just picture that there's a sphere of energy there and that it's gently rotating. Some of you may see it, some of you just imagine it. It doesn't matter. What we're going to be doing is we're going to set an intention that with our breath, we're going to breathe that energy right up to our heart space, the center of our chest. That's the fourth chakra, in case you're interested in the location. And with your inhaled breath, take the energy you feel in your belly and breathe it up to your heart space. Just shift and lift the energy with your breath up to the heart. And then when you're there, just breathe in and out at the heart level. Notice the changes in the energy as you do this, and stay there for just a moment. Notice if there's a difference in the shape, in the color, in the texture of the energy. Good. We're going to be moving through this rather quickly because we have a limited time, but I encourage you to do this on your own and take as long as you like in each center. For right now, I'd like you to think about taking the energy from your heart space or the center of your chest and breathe it up with the inhaled breath right through the front of your body to your forehead. Shift and lift to what is called the sixth chakra or third eye. Some of you have heard of that phrase, the third eye. Breathe your energy up until you find it in the third eye, right in the center of your forehead. Keep breathing up and shifting and lifting. Good. And once again, you're going to notice a shift in the way the energy feels as you bring it up to the finer vibrations, if you will, of the higher chakras. Wonderful. We have one more to go, and we're going to take the energy now from the brow, and we're going to breathe it right up through the top of your head. Imagine that the top of your head can open up energetically and allow your energy to shift to just above it. That's called the eighth chakra. So let's shift and lift the energy from the brow right up to the top of your head and a little bit out. And up here is a wonderful place to stay if you want to just cool it, relax, chill out, or if you want information and insight about an issue you have, this is a wonderful place to stop and ask those questions or just be in the peacefulness. And to conclude, we're going to take our energy and we're going to breathe it up, inhale it. And as we exhale, we bring the energy back down to our heart center, and that's where we stay. So take a breath, and as you exhale, bring yourself back down to the heart center. And when you're ready, bring yourself back to the present moment and open your eyes. Good. And remember, you can use this technique anytime you have a conflict or an issue that you want insight about. Just think about the problem as you breathe up through the energy centers and see how your feelings change and the awareness changes. And if you like this technique, I'll be happy to send you a copy of it if you email me at Terri Cooper at Verizon.net. That's TerriCooper at Verizon.net. And I will send you a handout on this. So happy energy. Have a great week.
Nice. Terri Cooper. Woo! You know, when we got up to the head and you said to pop up the thing of lightning went down on me.
Well, okay? I'm not the least bit surprised.
I know, I'm serious. And
these things happen. These things happen to queens. You know?
Is that what it is? Because
yes.
I was a little like, I don't know, not myself. But now I'm jacked. So you know what we're going to do?
You know what, kids? You don't necessarily have to feel jacked after this process. The queen of teen has her own unique reactions to these things.
Okay, but you know what we're going to do? We have to uniquely take a break, all right? And we've got more guests in the choir room. Thank you very much. Terri Cooper. This is Erica Salda, the queen of teen. We'll be back with more after these messages. back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday
at 9 a.m. right after the news. And then, Coach Dominique, where else are we?
We are on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TeenSportsRadio.com.
Oh, that was bad. That's because I decided to join in. All right, Joan Calder, you've got a couple of guests. Who'd you bring today?
I do. I have Jeffrey Peterson, and I have Sifu Slim.
Woo!
Yay!
Sifu Slim! And Jeff Peterson. How you guys doing today?
Awesome. Doing
Thank
great.
you so much. Who are we going to start with, Joan?
We're going to start with Jeffrey.
All
Okay,
right.
Jeff, he is the Goleta Valley Junior High's third music teacher ever.
Wow.
So he's going to tell us all about what he does with his junior high students.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. I teach instrumental music at Goleta Valley Junior High School. We have band and jazz ensemble, orchestra, beginning band, and I also teach strings in the elementary schools out in Goleta. We have a lot of fun there.
And why is music important in a child's life? Tell me.
Well, the biggest thing is that it's fun and it's magical. And beyond that, it appeals to the students' social, emotional, and cognitive needs that they have. They just love coming to the class. They learn self-confidence and self-expression. It builds teamwork. They learn discipline. And there's also kind of a math and reading component to music that really hooks kids in, because they have to learn how to decode the music on the page, sort of like math, and they have to learn all the patterns that are connected to math. They learn reading through the ways that they go through the music and progress. It's really it's an active learning kind of thing.
When I was talking to you this week, Jeff, you were telling me about some of your success stories. I'd like everyone to hear those.
Well, I was just thinking about that the other day, and I have kids who come to me from all sorts of different walks of life. They may have difficult home life. They may be reluctant learners. They may have had the wrong class and thought they shouldn't even been there. And sometimes they're terror in other classes, and some have learning disabilities such as dyslexia. And a lot of those kids come back to me later and say that we changed their life. We have an approach to teaching music that uses all the modalities. Music you can teach visually, you can teach it kinesthetically, you can teach it analytically, you can teach it orally, and all of those ways that we teach reaches those kids. So if you have a system to teach kids how to go from point A to point B, they're going to get there. I tell these kids, if you have the will, I will teach you this skill. And that by the end of the year, if you are committed to this, I don't care who you are, you will have learned how to play an instrument that you can progress to the next level, whether it's to our next group or if they start in 8th grade, that they go on to the high school.
Great. I know there's a lot of camaraderie, too. I know you do the primetime band, which is for the people over 50. You're the fabulous director, and you had a wonderful concert a couple weeks ago. And I noticed the camaraderie with those people, with the older people.
Right.
And I know you have that with your younger students.
It's true for everybody. I just think we're all grown-up kids, when you get to a certain age. And it doesn't matter. I've taught students from age 6 months all up to 96, and the dynamics never really change. Kids and adults want to be successful, and they want to connect with the people who they're performing with. And that happens all the time. And my daughter went through my class, and so far there's no permanent psychological damage that we can see. But some of her lifelong friends were through those music programs that she participated in all the way through high school and in college. So there's something special about music that connects people to other people. It's really cool.
It's amazing what they're learning in regards to how the brain functions and how we learn and how important it is to have music as part of the curriculum for children in learning. And it's just critical, and it's so sad that music and arts and sports seem to get less attention in school, whereas that's really part of the foundation of how we actually succeed academically.
Absolutely. I mean, I love being on the show because it's connected to sports, because sports are one of my favorite things. I love music and I love sports, and there's so many connections between that. In both activities, you have active learning. Both activities, you have competition, and then sort of in a healthy manner. You have ways that kids connect through their efforts with other people. And studies in music do show that you can learn better. They've shown that you get greater spatial awareness, and that you get better test scores by doing music. And I think both sports and music work very well together.
Jeff, I'm also aware that this may be the first time these kids have had a sense of expression, a sense of creativity, a sense of using their emotions, having their emotions come through in the creative process of making music. And for kids who are not that verbal and kids that are not that communicative, this may be a way for them to speak.
Oh, absolutely. You couldn't have said it any better than that. I think that's what happens a lot of times. And especially when we go into certain areas like jazz ensemble where they have to learn to improvise. They have to stand out from the crowd and take a chance. And I know that Wynton Marsalis uses the analogy of the jazz ensemble to go in and work with corporations, saying this is the modality, this is the metaphor for success. You take something with structure where people have to work together in a group, but within that structure they have the opportunity to improvise and do something unique. But it always has to be in line with what the people around them are doing. So absolutely, that is a great point.
We hear a lot about how there's not enough money in the different schools, so they start cutting the classes, and the first things to go usually are the music and the sports. My perspective is, and I want you to elaborate on this, cut the basics, cut the reading, the math, the English, keep the sports and the music. What are the basics that one learns in those two areas, and specifically the music, that you're going to have literally practical, first-hand experience of how the basics come to play in this wonderful creative modality?
Well, you use music all the time in every way. Plato said that music is an important activity and subject matter to study. So if he says it's important, it's got to be important. When you are in music, you have, as I was telling you before, you really have to use all parts of your brain. They have done research where they have mapped the brain of people doing different activities, whatever it is, reading or speaking or analyzing. And when they mapped the brain of musicians, there was more brain activity than any other activity they have ever studied, because there's so many things going on all
outside
at the
of
same
watching
time.
Teen Sports Radio.
Well, except that's right. That's the exception.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we've that's one thing that we've been able to find out, is that music embraces and uses the entire person. And people who are in music, I have so many friends who are engineers and who are in very analytical jobs, and their music helps them be more creative. Because there is something very stifling about just only doing your basics, where you're only learning how to take the test and how to respond to the test. How is your ability to work with other people? How is your ability to take something and find an answer to a solution? That's what the arts teaches you, is how to think.
I had a fascinating experience, one as a child in the orchestra playing the cello, and that experience of being with a group and being with a group of musicians and having to integrate, watching what my fellow orchestra players were doing and at the same time trying to master my own instrument. That was a fascinating experience that I didn't get anywhere else. And then my second experience with music was when I was on the track team. We would all enjoy, when we ran and stuff, listening to music because we seemed to run better, especially when we were doing the long distance. It just does something for the body. So how can you talk about how integrating music with what students are doing every day? What kind of music do you recommend people listen to?
Well, that's a very good point. You notice that athletes will listen to music before they perform, before they go out and do something, because there's something about that motivates them. And oftentimes, our teachers use classical music while students are writing something or writing an essay. I provided a whole host of classical music bits for an English teacher who wanted to see how it would work when they were writing short stories. And there's something about listening to classical music that opens up your pathways to another kind of dimension. And so they were listening to lots of different kinds of people. Beethoven's kind of a little bit much, but Mozart is fabulous just because every single note that he wrote is perfectly thought out. And he never, ever scratched out a note. He had it composed in his head. So every single way that he would use a string quartet or a symphony, they just flowed out of him. And so when you listen to him and you try to create with him, you're oftentimes very successful.
Well, I know firsthand of live music and dancing because I used to be a ballet dancer. So I remember when I left for Interlochen Arts Academy when I was 16, the first time I ever got to take class with a live pianist and then got to perform with a live orchestra. It was absolutely phenomenal, and how incredibly important it is. I've never played music, but being a dancer, it was very important to me, the music.
Yeah, that's a great facility, the Interlochen. I know many people who've gone there.
It was
what an opportunity for
amazing.
That's
I've taken accordion for about 6 months, and does that count for anything?
So funny. That's so cute. All right, hey, let's take a break. We got Dr. D's with the bob ahead now, smush your sign. Okay, no one's paying attention to him. I saw you, Dr. D. It's go time. This is Erica Salda. We will be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is a Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show, and I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday
at 9 a.m. right after the news. We are so good at this. So, Dominique, where else are we?
We're going to do it backwards.
Okay.
We are on Twitter, Facebook, Internet, YouTube, and teensportsradio.com.
That was Dr. May Chandler just roping it. There you go. You just wanted to
That was my vocal music.
Vocal debut.
I know. There you go. That's cute. That was really cute. All right, Joan Calder, back in the house. You've got another guest. Introduce.
My second guest is Sifu Slim, and I want to introduce him and ask him, tell me about Sifu Slim. I know it means something very profound.
So I grew up in the 60s watching Jack LaLanne on television. So Jack and Bruce Lee were both small people. So I'm kind of a stretched out version. I'm 6'2" and a half. And when I was 10, I thought I was going to eventually hit puberty and develop into kind of a linebacker build. Well, that never happened. I should have looked at my family's genetics. But I said, I'm going to play with the idea of me being a fitness person, but looking like Gilligan. So I became Sifu, which is father, teacher, Slim, El Maestro Delgado for all you Spanish speakers. And so that's where I am today, having a little bit of self-deprecation, despite that I work out about 2 hours every morning and not a lot changes except for my mind gets oxygenated and I get really a happy boost.
Oh, there you go.
Tell me, I know you worked with kids doing some kickboxing, or let's go into that a little bit.
Yeah, well, along the way, you realize that it's time to give back. And so when I was in my early 20s, I was a professional mascot in Sacramento, California, dancing around in the Big Tomato outfit by day.
Cute.
Also working in a 9-to-5 job.
Organic? Was he organic?
He was 98% organic. There was 2% we couldn't trace. So.
There you go.
But along the way, I met some kids that were from Mexico. They were born there, and they didn't want to do the normal sports in junior high and high school. They wanted to do boxing. So I'd been a big fan of boxing. Not that I like bludgeoning people, but the artwork and the fencing part of boxing I thought was pretty impressive, and I was a big Muhammad Ali fan. So I started teaching these kids the fitness and the jump rope and the training behind boxing, and then made sure to get them out of the ring when they were getting tired so they weren't getting bludgeoned. So that's kind of my initial working with kids. I already had a wellness component built in, not just performance.
Well, I'm really impressed that you speak how many languages when you're training?
I can claim 3 fluently, but a lot of other ones like Swahili, I know a page or 2.
Okay. I know you're working on a book. Tell me, how does that book connect to young to adult?
So along the way, I wrote, starting in 2008, a book called Sedentary Nation. Each author tries to define their era. And my era was one that started out with a lot of movement in the 60s and 70s, and then people started becoming sedentary in the cubicalized part of the service-oriented society. And even your friendly contractor, you'll see them writing up bids and hanging out in their pickup on their cell phone, and then having their workers that are in their 20s doing all the physical work. So even the workers became more sedentary. So along the way, I met an orthopedic surgeon in Santa Barbara named Dr. Bill Gallivan, and he said, for your next book, you should write one called The Aging Athlete, because it's a new field in orthopedic medicine. And I thought that was wonderful.
I remember when I met you, you were walking past my house, and I know you walk every day, you do lots of exercise, and I told my husband, I said, we should do more of that, but I don't think we did much except for meeting at the restaurant and having breakfast.
Yeah, it's funny. If you went back to our great-grandparents' generations and the people in 1910, you would find food was a part of the festivities, but it wasn't 80 or 90% as it is today. Everyone says, come on by to have dinner. Let's go meet at a coffee shop and have this giant drink with lots of calories and chemicals. But way back in the day, it was movement-oriented. You might have found the Italians playing bocce, the French playing pétanque, and the people from the Scottish origins and the Tennessee Valley Authority dancing a jig and playing the fiddle. So we've become sedentary even in our recreational time, which is pretty sad.
Mm-hmm. Well, I attribute doing a boxing routine as helping me survive my first heart attack. Actually, I was talking to Dr. Chandler about heart attacks and so forth, but I was in really good physical fit state at 37 when I had my first heart attack, and I was doing a boxing workout.
Afterwards or before?
That was before. So, and what my heart doctor told me was that because I was so physically fit, I was able to survive the heart attack. Because usually if you have a heart attack at a very young age, you're less likely to survive. If I understand correctly, the older you get, the more capillary veins you have, so the more likely you are to survive it. But when you're young, it's actually more difficult to survive a heart attack. But the boxing workout gave me really good cardio, and I really appreciate that. And the other thing that I was talking about was I also was eating sushi at the time, so I think I had the omega-3s in my body. When you work out with people, do you also talk to them about what they're eating as well?
I would say that lifestyle, the well-rounded and balanced lifestyle, which means having downtime, a thing that we've forgotten in our overprogrammed iPhone calendar world. So I tell kids that this whole idea of recreation without digital, they call that the digital overload. So go have a digital-free weekend and get to know yourself. So self-mastery, in my opinion, can be fun. Some people might call my lifestyle the Spartan lifestyle, but I take a nap every day. I'm 51, and I still do a lot of playful kids-type things. So even the acting, I step into a different zone during the workout, because if you do it every day, I think I'm over 14,000 days of physical movement. Similar stuff every day. The only way I can do that, because I like a lot of change and fun in my life, is to get into a different Zen kind of playful mood. And that's the secret. It's not going to body boot camp where they're bossing me around, even though you can get quick transformation. You can't do that for 50 years. How many people could do the boot camp or the boxing workout with a coach for 50 years? I've never seen it.
What would you suggest for my husband and I to start out, since we're not the best right now?
Well, walking, it's hard to hurt yourself. It's easy to have a car run you over. So if you're on a bike trail or somewhere safe, you're okay. But walking, I jokingly tell people that besides your doctor's point of view and approval, the first person you should talk to before getting into a program of physical activity is the crossing guard at the street.
That sounds a little dangerous.
So I was just reading, I liked the idea about the electronic world, and that we're always on our phones and our brains never, ever can stop. And I was reading this detox from your cell phone the other day. It was a 7-day cleanse from the phone. And it was true, because I was reading through it, and like one day you get to it where it's like, don't, as soon as you wake up, look at your phone and look at what's on Instagram and Facebook, which I do have a problem doing that, but it is. It's like my husband will have to tell me at dinner to put my phone away, because I just constantly looking at it.
Yeah, I talk a lot about mindset, and that's a generic term for where you are inside of your brain, your spirit, and your soul, and what you do with your decision making. The biochemistry researchers will come out with all kinds of technical stuff to answer why we do the things we do. Like when a text comes in, I've never seen a student be able to say, no, I don't want to pick that up. So in a classroom, they're going to sneak that out. If they're at church, they may even sneak that out. This is how the mind works. It overpowers them. So I say, well, since we're in that zone where they're saying that we're unhelpable with our biochemistry, it's firing and we have to respond to it. I say, okay, we've got a lot of people that have psychological addictions and other problems. I say, well, why don't we teach them a new thing called, despite what's going on in your brain chemistry, do the right thing. So that's very easy and it's very simple and direct. So I have times where I'd like to have another piece of cake at a party, and I say, do I want to have to process all that chemical and that sugar? And the answer is, I don't. So if you just think ahead a couple of hours, you can get the answer about making the right decision.
Sifu, I was struck by the word fun. And I think if we can teach these kids to have fun, in sports or in physicality, they're going to keep it in their lives all their lives. So many times we're athletes in school, and then we graduate, we get a job, and we stop moving. And if you're teaching them people how to love the physical activity, so it becomes an integrated part of their entire life, you're really giving them a wonderful prescription for a lifelong health.
So I second that, and I'm going to ask the doctor who's with us today why we don't train when a kid 15 or 17, why we don't train them about developing their own maintenance program for their physical activity, so that they have something, whether it's a 15-hour day with responsibilities or an 8-hour one, that they can program right into their day. Why do they need? I'm not second guessing the importance of a yoga instructor or a physical instructor, but why doesn't a person, just like they learn how to floss and take care of their dental hygiene and their health, why don't they learn how to do?
You know what we're going to do? We're going to ask Dr. May Chandler in 240 seconds from now, because it is go time. All right, this is Erica Salda. We've got one more section. Stay tuned for more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show, and I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday
at 9 a.m. right after the news. And Coach Dominique, she's looking at me, right, because she's bought these amazing power bars. And one look at her, and I put half back. That's right! Look at me now! Because I'm eating this half. I don't even care. These are yummy. I've held out up until now.
I know, you're doing good.
Really good. Yumma.
I really like that you're respecting your body, because your body is saying,
that look.
Yes.
You ever see that look? If looks could kill, that was that look. Okay?
No.
Smacked by Terry. I mean, I'm just getting all jumped on all over the place. That's okay.
Dr. Energy to you.
Well, Dr. Energy.
Ooh,
there you go.
So you asked me where we are. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and teensportradio.com.
So good. You know, we had a singing coach here a week ago, and she's done wonders with you. I got a question for you, because we're talking about the music, to segue back, because we've had some amazing guests today, Jeff Peterson and guest Sifu Slim. When you were in the operating room, what? I mean, because I haven't, thank God, been
Kings of Leon.
Is that really?
I like the Kings of Leon.
Serious?
Coldplay, that kind of music.
Oh,
yeah.
cool. But you do play it.
Oh, yeah. I had to actually ask them to turn it up this morning. I said, can you please turn the music up?
Nice.
Yeah, because I get in the zone.
So is the person out by the time you crank it? Or, yeah. I mean, are they
most of the time.
I will back to 100, 94.
I will say sometimes they are wheeling into the operating room, and the nurse is like, turn that music down.
That's funny.
It happens.
Do you go to Cottage and Goleta?
And not Goleta anymore. Yeah. I was starting at Goleta, but then the block time was just not working. So now I'm mostly at Cottage outpatient. And then there's a new surgery center which is the specialized surgery center. It's an orthopedic group that started it. It's on De La Vina.
Oh, nice.
That I did a few of my first surgeries there last week.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
so
it was really nice.
Since you're on the roll, so if somebody has a foot problem, they want to call you, what's your contact information?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at 1919 State Street, Suite 206. So that's on the second floor. And the number is 805-687-0088.
And she's upstairs, but if you have a foot problem, you don't have to take those stairs.
There is an elevator.
I was on
There is an elevator.
I walk out with 2 boots, so I wasn't making those stairs down.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's true.
Joan Calder, let's continue.
Let's continue. I think we had a question.
Oh, yes, we
Oh, it
did.
goes back to you.
Yes. So back to the question of why, like, the young child is not brought up with learning to, do activity like they are flossing and, eating
develop
the right
their own
foods.
program so that if they're in an over-programmed busy day, they still have this thing they can do, in the morning on a mat or standing, just their own routine to get their body in an active state and maintain, basically.
Right, and it's such a great idea. I think what happens, though, is it's sometimes lost. I think it depends on what their family is doing. So sometimes if you look at certain families that are very active, right? Like I can remember one back home whenever I was growing up in elementary school, and her parents were these avid runners, and so the kids grew up being avid runners, and they ran in college, and they were a very healthy family. You would go over and you would eat healthy, and then you would go over to your other friend's house where it's like they ate pizza every night, and their parents didn't really work out. So I think it would be hard, and what happens is where kids start learning exercises, usually like in a school-oriented thing where it was PE or sports, or for me, it was my mom put me in ballet. I was a little girl and she put me in ballet, and I ended up loving it. So I just stuck with ballet, right? So I probably would put my little girl, if I had one, in ballet. But it would be difficult, I think, unless we kind of get the adults to change their lifestyle to then get the kids to change their lifestyle.
I remember my grandmother. This was a long time ago, but as a little girl watching her first thing in the morning, she did her calisthenics. So she'd get up in the morning, she'd open the curtains, she'd watch the birds outside in the bird bath, not getting on an iPhone or anything like that. We didn't have them back then. And she'd touch her toes a certain number of times, she'd do some jumping jacks. Maybe it came from Jacqueline, I don't know, but every morning she did her calisthenics.
Yeah. That's great.
One of the things that I learned by interviewing some 30 former high-performance athletes, because I asked them questions for 3 hours, there became a pattern of interviewing these people. I interviewed the premise of this book, The Aging Athlete, which you can see at theagingathlete.com, is that 90% of former military and former high school, college, and pro athletes that were at the elite level, that trained 4 or 5 hours a day in their prime, become sedentary the day that they leave their high performance. And I've interviewed 30 people, and they each know 10. That's 3,000 people we're drawing upon. So that goes from anecdotal to scientific study when you hit that many people. And I'll do it today, and we can go around and we can ask, those 10 people that used to be high performance, how are they doing in terms of physical activity? Not just fitness, but just activity as a driver for fitness. And they'll all say the same thing, less than 10%. And so there's some pattern that we're creating that's performance-oriented, which sounds like the American dream. We perform and we produce, right? And the Puritan, the Protestant work ethic. But what happened to good old-fashioned wellness, like the Native Americans, wanting to dance around the fire and celebrating life and connecting with nature and learning from the animals, that there is this thing called downtime where you can snooze a little bit and just watch life go by.
I noticed with my sister's grandkids, they're all in soccer, they're in ice hockey, they're running here and there all the time, and I know they'd like to have a little rest time too. So that's a great point. That's really a great point.
Well, I have a good friend, Miss Erica Salda, who is a really strong proponent of resting on Sundays. And that's something that...
Thank you for sharing.
That sounds like a kudo for the Protestants.
Actually taking a day off. I'm a mother of 5, and I used to own 2 construction companies. I've been a stockbroker, an insurance agent. I've done lots of different things in my life. But actually thinking about creating a lifestyle where I take time off has actually been something that I'm having to learn to do. And I'm turning 50 this year.
I don't do very well with taking time off either. That's why I'm stressed out all of the time. And it was a couple of weeks ago when we did what was the thing that we did where we were trying to kind of the tapping, yes. And I did really bad with the tapping. Really bad. I failed.
You did not fail.
And it's the same thing. My husband will be like, because we run, and he'll be like, you have to take one day off. And so my day that I take off is usually going to yoga and not running, and going to yoga that day. So I have a big problem of resting.
Last Sunday, I watched season 2 of Viking all day long.
Doing I've never even heard of that.
It was awesome. Well, you're going to have to check it out. It's awesome. It's on Netflix. Yeah, it's cool. Valhalla. Okay, that's all I'll say. All right. Hey, we've had too much fun today. This is Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Thank you, Santa Barbara, for all the love that you've given our teen athletes. We'll see you next week. Please tune in and join us next Tuesday at KZSB AM 1290 at 9:06 a.m. when we will go behind the scenes with the local students, athletes, coaches, parents, volunteers, and all other teen sports supporters. This is all brought to you by ePro Insurance Agency, leader in gift planning and wealth preservation since 1983. So please follow along and support our student athletes by reading the Santa Barbara News Press, and then join me, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen, Dr. Dugan, my co-host, friends, teens, every week on the Santa Barbara News Press radio station.
You're the best around.